how would you say it?
How to survive cruising during very busy times such as Thanksgiving and Christmas.
But we find that the cruise industry is
Here are a
booking
few
a
tips.
lot.
Tip number one.
Honey, hang on. We just find that because cruise lines are booking so heavily now, that even on a relatively light part of the year, it would still be heavily booked.
Yeah, but it's not as crazy as those holidays.
So are we talking more about holidays?
Yes.
Okay, well, let's start again. Hey guys, Troy here from Port Lowdown. I'm here with my wife Angelia, and we want to talk about holiday cruising. Holiday cruising can be a great experience, a lot of fun, but it can also be a real pain because there's a lot of booking going on, and holidays are becoming very popular. Cruise industry is roaring back into action with all services on the ship being loaded. So to make the holiday more of a holiday and less of a hassle, we have 6 tips about how to make that a little easier.
The first tip.
Be ready for lines.
Not just lines, but extra long lines.
We're thinking mainly in like the main dining rooms in particular, especially during dinner and breakfast time, gets pretty crowded and long.
Our suggestion is, especially if you have kids or older people who cannot stand very long, is maybe to have a person in your party taking turns to be standing on a long line.
Right.
Don't start lining up when you are hungry.
It took us a long time just to get to the front of the line. Then to get seated took a long time. To get the menu took a long time. And to get served, I think it was almost an hour, right? Between standing in line and actually eating. So it helps to lower expectations a bit when the crowds are that big.
So the second tip is to plan extra time, especially for food and tender. Now, of course, the line is not only just for the main dining room. You're talking about the buffet, and if you're going on excursion that it requires tender, there will be also another long line. So hopefully your ship anticipate that, created a system by giving out numbers, especially for tenders, so that not everybody has to crowd it at the same long line.
It might help to ask ahead of time how that actually is going to be organized. Well, okay, tip number 3 would be make reservations for everything as much as you can, and ideally before you get on the ship.
A lot of people consider, waiting until the embarkation day, so then you will have a long line on the guest services desk right when people are cranky, because it's not exactly the best way to start your holidays. One small tip just to remind you is onboard credit cannot be used for offshore reservation. So if you are making a reservation prior to the cruise, then you won't be able to use your onboard credit, and that is the downside about having the onboard credit, because it's technically need to be used on board while you on the ship already.
Tip number 4 would be to consider upgrading your room if possible, or upgrading to a higher service if possible.
So an example would be a Club Orange in the Holland America, or for Princess that would be the suite or a mini suite club class, or even maybe special places such as a retreat. Because again, these are the few times when having those access makes a whole lot of differences.
Saves a lot of time.
Save a lot of time and sanity, and at the very least maybe save your holiday. Now, remember also some of this require you to reserve before you are on board.
And tip number 5, places to find that are peaceful and calm, that are not your cabin. Especially during the daytime, sometimes I want to just hang, read a book, where it's very quiet. That the larger lounges, where the nightclubs usually are, tend to be underused during the day, which allows for a lot of quiet spaces to hang out in. And then also
the big venue
the big venue places, right? Like the theaters. And so usually the doors are open and you can just go in and settle into a seat, and there's hardly anybody around. Oh, by the way, if any of this information has been useful to you, we would really appreciate you smacking the like button. Really helps us for our channel to grow.
Last tip is to schedule the room service.
It's especially helpful if you have a tour early in the morning and you need to get off the ship right away. Having breakfast ready for you at your doorstep is a super convenient. and a lot easier than going up to the buffet area. Those get crowded on port days anyway.
A tiny little tip, if you miss that window, is maybe bring some fruits or breads from the buffet the night before, but that help you get to going once you hit the port. If you have any experience cruising on holiday and figure out a couple of few other tips, please share with us on the comment below.
We got the Easter duck.
Easter duck. Thank you, Mooser and Nice from Utah.
Oh, what luck, you found a duck. Congratulations. Keep or hide, you decide. So, ducks are a thing.
Duck.